Hey guys, Justin here. And one of the things that I'm regularly asked is, so what is the health and integrity pyramid and what's it all about? And quite simply, the health and integrity pyramid is this. It is a tool that I have developed to help leaders in a variety of capacities reach their full potential. No leader starts out by saying, I want to be a bad leader. I want to influence people negatively, and I want to tarnish the company, the institution, or the church, or the organization that I'm working for. We all start out by saying, I want to be a good leader. And then as life happens and crises come at us, and whether it's in the business world or in the volunteer sector, or whether it's part of our family, life happens and unexpected issues come up. And then we're often forced to wrestle with the question, so how do I want to lead here? And so I have developed the health and integrity pyramid to try and tackle some of those great obstacles. It's a tool that allows me to come alongside leaders and help them figure out, how do I lead at full potential? And so, quite simply, it has three primary sections to it. The first and the foundation is calling. That in any leadership capacity, we need to recognize that if we want to do it well, and if we want to have longevity and have maximum influence and impact, then we have to be able to recognize a calling in our lives. Maybe it's a temporary positional appointment. Maybe it's a career aspiration. Maybe it's a nonprofit church sector. Maybe it's leading a large Fortune 500 company. But in any capacity, in order to lead well, the foundation has to be a calling about developing integral leadership. From there are what I call the internal dynamics to healthy leadership. And it's summed up in these. First is spiritual health, and then emotional, mental, and physical. And in each of those four areas, you as a leader need to decide, what does it look like for me to lead well here? That before we get to the external fruits of leadership, there are the internal dynamics of character formation. What does spiritual health look like? How do I regularly stay connected and plugged in and charged with who I sense God has called me to be and who God is wanting to shape me into? From there is emotional health. And this is one that is fairly popular in a lot of leadership circles, but there are large segments of our population where we still don't talk about emotional health. And if you ever doubt that, just go log on to Facebook. There are a wide array of posts that are clearly lacking in emotional intelligence and perception and depth. And if we don't pay attention to the emotional health of our internal leadership dynamics, we will never reach our full potential. Interestingly enough, one survey suggested that as many as 50% of first-time CEOs resign in the first 18 months because of a lack of emotional intelligence. It needs to be talked about, and we need to pay special attention to emotional health. There's also physical and mental aspects of internal health. What are the mental aspects of health that we need to do to keep ourselves growing? It's things like reading books or listening to podcasts. It's being aware of current events. It's the things that continue to activate our mind to get us to think in new and creative and innovative ways. It's being able to make connections outside of our field of expertise and relevance to the larger world around us. And then the last element of internal health is the physical. Are we taking care of our bodies? Are we exercising regularly? Is our diet one that can sustain us for years into the future? And what are the ways in which rest needs to be talked about? That intentional breaking away so that we as leaders can recharge. And once we progress there, if we continue to look up the pyramid, then we get into the external fruits of leadership. And there are two aspects there that need to be dealt with. The first is relational. Whether we want to talk about those we lead in a business organizational sense, whether we talk about our key significant relationships with our spouse, with our children, with our family, or what are the relational aspects in which we as leaders have been called to equip and develop others. And then the pyramid, the capstone of the health and integrity pyramid is financial generosity. It's not till we reach that peak of the rest of the world being in order that we can begin to live a life of total generosity. Yes, that includes money, but it also includes our gifts. What are the ways that we want to give back to this world? It includes our time. Who are the significant people and relationships that we want to invest in, that we can come alongside young leaders and mentor and develop for the future? And once we reach that capstone of total generosity, it is about continuing to go back and maintain each of these areas. It's regular retreat, investment, reflection, journaling, inward-looking capacity, and then it is external fruit, bearing forth what we have sensed in our calling that God is calling us to contribute to the world. That, quite simply, at least in a few minutes, is the health and integrity pyramid, but it is both a week's journey and a lifetime of development. If you are interested in pursuing that, I'd love to connect with you. Check out the link below to my website for more information. We can take that journey together to give you a life of leadership that maximizes your influence and your impact. God bless.